Hey guys, Comic Boom here to review Wonder Woman issue 762, continuing the saga of Maxwell Lord having to come back to the forefront to help Wonder Woman against an enemy that apparently is manipulating the masses through an app called Oedipus, or the Odysseus app, or the Oedipus app, which basically the moment you open the app, it causes you to hallucinate crazy stuff that makes you do stuff that puts yourself in danger or other people in danger. And the only person that can apparently that can help battle this worldwide, potentially deadly worldwide phenomena is Maxwell Lord, who initially developed the app before he was ultimately put in jail or incapacitated through the pages of No Justice, where he essentially tried to link with these all-powerful gods that were linked to the source wall, and he didn't, and he was unsuccessful. We thought Maxwell Lord died in the pages of No Justice, but he didn't. Apparently, through a process called very bad writing, DC apparently has decided that Maxwell Lord didn't die, when in fact, very clearly he did die in the pages of No Justice, but that doesn't matter because, you know, they don't hire editors that read the comic books at DC Comics anymore, so this is what we're left with. And so I can't blame writer here, Marika Tamaki, because she's just basically, she's just following the lead. And let's face it, if you're a writer and you have a story idea and you don't have an editor that does their job, you can pretty much write whatever you want. And that's what's happened here. Now, where does that leave us? Well, that leaves us with this gong show of a story where Marika Tamaki is trying to say something about truth and deception. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wow, this is really good, because if you have a story about truth and deception, what better comic book to tell it in than in the pages of Wonder Woman, who has a connection through her magic lasso, otherwise known as the Golden Perfect, whereby you can talk about such things as truth and all-knowing truth. Or at least philosophically, you can address that question, because Wonder Woman, through her magic lasso, if you're wrapped around in the strands of the magic lasso, you're compelled to see the truth. Now, of course, because truth is somewhat elusive, particularly nowadays when there's fake news and everything else, what does truth really mean? If you are suddenly faced with the truth, what does that mean? Does that mean you see the truth of who you really are? So even if you're a jerk, are you going to in fact be able to become self-aware and realize that you're a jerk? Or will you not be able to see that? Because if you genuinely believe that you're not a jerk, isn't your own truth what matters? You know what I mean? What is truth? Now, you might think, I'm not trying to get all big and all philosophical on you here, but unfortunately, Marika Tamaki is, and she's really not doing a very good job of it at this point, because the problem here is that you got Maxwell Lord as someone who gets a nosebleed every time he makes somebody see his truth. He can make people see what he wants them to see. Well, Maxwell Lord now has a daughter named Liar Liar, who also can make people see whatever she wants them to see. Meanwhile, apparently, Liar Liar, utilizing this app that her dad Maxwell Lord created, can get people to see whatever illusion that Liar Liar wants them to see. So, and apparently, the magic lasso, the magic lasso that Wonder Woman has, which has a mythological power to compel people to see the truth, doesn't have the ability to help even Wonder Woman see through the illusions that are created by this app, or through the power of Liar Liar, or through the power of Maxwell Lord anymore. So I'm a little confused. Now, if you're wondering why I'm confused, it's not because I didn't read this story, it's because I did read the story. Really. And if you want to join me in my confusion, you can read the story too. Just start at issue 759 and read to 762, and you'll understand why this is a poorly written story. Because it's not clear exactly what's going on at all. As a matter of fact, to the extent that this has become exciting, last issue ended with Wonder Woman having to try to stop a nuclear weapon from hitting an American city because Liar Liar, Maxwell Lord's daughter, manipulated and created illusions for the U.S. military such that various military personnel were deluded into thinking that they had to release that they were under nuclear attack and that World War III was happening. And so they released a nuclear missile into the air. And Wonder Woman at the end of last issue was going to go and try to stop nuclear Armageddon from occurring on an American city. And this issue, my God, I was so excited to see what would happen. And what happened? Absolutely nothing of consequence. Instead, we get this back. Instead of the opening pages being Wonder Woman stopping a nuclear destruction of an American city, we get a backstory about how Amazons use deception in their tactics, which is completely useless because everybody uses deception in their tactics. What does that have to do with the storyline? It has absolutely nothing to do with the storyline, except for one way. And it's the cheapest way imaginable that it had to do with the storyline. Because once again, Tamaki is trying to draw this link between battle tactics of deception to Maxwell Lord's use of deception, through Liar's use of deceptions, through the inability of the magic lasso to see truth, to try to create this overarching narrative of how, what is truth, what is deception, how do you live life not knowing what truth is. I mean, I think she's trying to be profound or big or something here. The problem is that she's not setting up the rules of the game. And that's the problem, because even in the midst of the political chaos that we are living in right now in society, we still all know what truth is. The problem is, we all know what the problem is, and that's just social media. We know that it all comes down to the information you're given. So this isn't rocket science. So you don't have to overcomplicate it by suggesting that somehow you got liar, you got Maxwell Lord, you got the magic lasso. That's somehow trying to create this overarching, confusing narrative whereby, what are you trying to say, Marika Tamaki? You're the writer here. What are you trying to say? What is the point of Wonder Woman here? Because at one point, last issue, Wonder Woman's magic lasso was unable to, her connection to the magic lasso was unable to prevent Wonder Woman from seeing the truth, to see through Liar's illusions. It was ineffective. And now Wonder Woman in this issue is using her magic lasso to get other people to see through Liar's illusions. So what is it? Does the magic lasso help or doesn't it? This is a exceptionally poorly written story because it doesn't set up the rules. It doesn't make any sense. And for that reason, I can't emphasize enough how bad this is. If ever there was a moment where you need to you have to be clear in your narrative. What is the nature of the threat here? What's the nature of the threat? Now, Liar is apparently going around. She's apparently traveling around in a taxi, randomly telling random military personnel to do this, to do that. For what end? She wants to impress Daddy. Now we got this screwed up millennial. Surprise, surprise. We got this screwed up millennial who has these powers to manipulate people and to create deceptions. And for what? For what purpose? She wants to impress Daddy? And so if her daddy, Maxwell Lord, who also has the power of illusions, he apparently has to be released from his state-of-the-art prison in order to help Wonder Woman to what? Help other people overcome the illusions? I thought Wonder Woman doesn't need that. She's got the magic lasso. But wait, the magic lasso doesn't work as of the last issue. But wait, as of this issue, it does work for some people. What is it? Tamaki, you're the writer. Make up your mind. It's called verisimilitude. You need to put it into your stories so that they make some sort of sense so that the reader can follow along. You don't have it in this. This is pathetic. But let me tell you some of the things that do work in this issue, and that is the art. Now, DC blew it again. I know again. It's a broken record because but DC Comics has betrayed the readership. They did last issue. They're continuing to do it this issue because Mikel Janin, however you say his name, is not the artist. But full credit to Barbary as the artist here. He does a really good job. Or Carlo Barbary does a really good job. And let me tell you something, guys. Those of you who just read these comic books digitally, you're missing out sometimes because I got to tell you, there's a full page spread here by Barbary. I mean, this art is fantastic. It's not going to do it justice, but just how beautiful that is. It takes up a full 2 pages, just beautifully artistically rendered. The art here is actually really good, even though it's not Mikel Janin. I want to give credit on the art. I quite enjoyed it here. Now, the story here gets a little bit off. I want to, at one point here, Marika Tamaki tries to explain Maxwell Lord's reasoning, or the journey that Maxwell Lord has been on as a character, and fails spectacularly. I'm going to read to you something that takes up 2 pages that will convey absolutely nothing of substance whatsoever. Because I'm going to read this out loud just so you get a sense of how ridiculous this is. So at some point, Wonder Woman here is trying to get a sense from Maxwell Lord in terms of where Maxwell Lord is coming from. You know, Wonder Woman wants to know why Maxwell Lord changed. Because Maxwell Lord has repeatedly told Wonder Woman that I'm a changed person, I'm not the person that I was before. Now, there's no evidence of that. In fact, there's all evidence to the contrary. But Wonder Woman wants Maxwell Lord to explain to her why should I believe you when you said that you have changed and you're no longer basically a supervillain? Why are you no longer an a-hole? Why should I trust you? And this is what Maxwell Lord says. Now, pretend you got an IQ above 10 for one moment and listen to this nonsense. This is what Maxwell Lord is explaining to Wonder Woman, who is supposed to have the wisdom of Athena. Okay? Just bear with me. This is what Maxwell Lord says. If you know what I knew, if you saw what I saw when the wall fell, and he's talking about the source wall. When the source wall fell, and the source wall is what separates our universe from other universes. Okay? So when the source wall fell, the source wall is the source of all knowledge. And all multiple cosmic beings make up the source wall. So when the source wall fell, Maxwell Lord had an epiphany because he was connected to it through the pages of No Justice. If you saw what I saw when the wall fell, he says, you would believe me, but perhaps without that, it's impossible. So what he just said conveys nothing. He just said, well, if you knew what I knew, Wonder Woman, you'd believe me. So in other words, he just conveyed nothing. But he continues to convey nothing, going through wasted pages. Again, bad writing, but bear with me. Wonder Woman says, I have seen a universe of destruction in a handful of impossible things, Max Lord. Try me. So once again, she's inviting Maxwell Lord to explain to her what the hell he's talking about. So what does he say? He says, when the source wall fell, I saw everything. Doesn't say what everything is. He goes on. Every second of every minute broken open. Time itself broke apart. Again, that doesn't tell us anything. I saw the multiverse rip through the center. Again, that doesn't tell us anything. Peeled back a scab to reveal. Again, it doesn't reveal to us anything. All right. The ugliest wound, he says. All the conflict, my fight. I saw the path. I saw the results. Results of what, Max? My road to justice has one end. What would that end be, Max? I refuse to have my future dictated into the ground. I'm better than that. What future, Max? What was dictated into the ground? That is it. That's the big reveal. That's Maxwell Lord's answer through the writing of Marika Tamaki in terms of explaining to Wonder Woman what he saw when So I don't even know what that means. We have no idea. What does that mean? That doesn't explain Maxwell Lord's state of mind. It doesn't even explain. We don't know what he saw. Did he see his death? Did he see his life? We don't know what any of that means. Absolutely, totally useless. This is exactly what is wrong with the DC Universe now. It's why the DC Universe as a whole, why the character writing is failing, why the stories suck, why they go absolutely nowhere. This is substanceless, shit, garbage writing through it all. This is the type of stuff that is not going to move us forward. If Maxwell Lord is a villain, say he's a villain. If he's trying to be deceptive, this is not the way to have him do it, because Wonder Woman would see through this. The fact that Wonder Woman buys this, or is even remotely in any way, shape, or form reacts in any sort of nonchalant way to this it's ridiculous. This is the type of garbage that I cannot stand. I cannot stand. And I can't emphasize enough that after so much writing, the fact that editors would let any writer get away with this. And now, obviously, the editor here, I want to give him a shout out, because I want to say to the editor, because they did a shit job. And when somebody does a garbage job, call them out by name. So here we go. Editor, Paul Kaminsky, you did a shitty job. Jamie S. Rich, group editor, you're an idiot. Anyone else? Is that the only editor? Associate editor, we can't forget Brittany Holzer. You did a garbage job. Here's all to all three of you. Try reading a comic book of Wonder Woman once in a while. Try figuring out what the hell is going on in the DC universe before you approve garbage like this being written. Because if you're not going to have any degree of substance to a story, don't bother writing it. This is subpar garbage. Subpar garbage. And I'm just telling you the way it is. You know, you're going to get people, people on reviews that are going to be singing all kinds of nonsense, feeding your line with crap, feeding your minds that you're doing a good job. You're not. This is absolute garbage. If Wonder Woman is worth anything, she sees through this garbage. And if you want to have a message about truth or a message about deception, this nonsense where you allow a supervillain to go free who's proven that he's incapable of helping you in any meaningful way, this is the stuff that has to stop. You have to have more to it than this. But this is an epic failure in multiple levels here. And I can't find much nice to say about this other than the art. The art's fantastic. But just for once, wouldn't it be nice? It's a long time Wonder Woman. I would love to have a situation where I'm reading a Wonder Woman story where the story was even 10% of the quality of the art. That would just be beautiful. If the story just once would be 10% of the quality of it. Ain't gonna happen in this issue, people. This had potential. This had potential. Now it ends with Liar Liar once again popping up. This is here once again. Liar Liar is popping up. This is nothing but a glorified situation where, I guess, once again a dysfunctional child, dysfunctional teenager with daddy issues, typical millennial issues written by a millennial writer. Let me make a prediction what's going to happen here, guys. Mark my words. This is what's going to happen. It's going to be revealed, mark my words, that Liar Liar has daddy issues and that she loved her mom. And I bet you that it's going to be revealed that Maxwell Lord killed her mother. I bet you. Why? Because Wonder Woman writers hate men. They hate men. They even hate Steve Trevor. That's because he's not in the issue, right? Now, I actually don't believe that Wonder Woman writers hate men. What I actually believe is that when they sit down to write Wonder Woman, there's something that happens. There seems to be a spirit, a Wonder Woman writing spirit that hovers above their head, that permeates and poisons their mind into such a situation where they have to minimize male influence, and they have to minimize the testosterone in the comic. It's something that they just feel they feel it in their bones. They have to make it happen. And I don't know why it is, but because every time there's more male influence in a Wonder Woman comic, it's more enjoyable. It just is, because you need to have a strong, powerful male influence. But of course, when the only male influence you have in a Wonder Woman comic is usually an emasculated Steve Trevor or Maxwell Lord, who he's a bad guy or he's just playing a jerk. And isn't it interesting that in every single Wonder Woman issue, going back how many years now, every time there's a Wonder Woman always shows compassion. Wonder Woman got on her knees in front of Phobos and Deimos, all those stupid Greek god names, whatever the hell their names are, Phobos and Deimos and shit, and then you got Ares. She gets on her knees and she begs, she supplicates herself. Does she supplicate herself in front of Maxwell Lord? No. Why not? He's only human. How is Maxwell Lord different than most of other Wonder Woman's villains? I know. He's got a penis. That's what it is. Yeah, you can't do that in front of Maxwell Lord, right? He's a man. Yeah, no, he's a man, right? Unless he's got blonde hair and you're screwing him, he's Maxwell Lord. You're not going to supplicate yourself in front of him. That's just not right, can you? You have to hate him. Now, for some reason, you will let Donna Troy in the New 52, you'll let Donna Troy get away with exterminating all the men on Paradise Island. You'll forgive her. You're not going to do that to Maxwell Lord. No, but you remember snapping his neck with joy, don't you, Diana? Yeah, that's right. Is it because he's a man? Probably, right? Yeah. At some point, maybe you have to stop having all that hate in your heart, Diana. Get rid of all that hate. That hate that permeates your soul. That is filtered through the magic lasso, that prevents you from seeing the truth. Maybe that's why the golden perfect isn't working. Maybe it's because there's a flaw in your soul. How's that for a theory, huh? But hey, I digress. Now, I twisted the hell out of this review. And I don't truly genuinely believe half of what I just said. But understand that the sad part is that most of the nonsense that I just said is actually is actually something that can be proven if you read Tamaki's last 3 issues. That's the sad part. God forbid if you've read Wonder Woman in the last year, there's lots of evidence to what I just said. Orlando's run, man, oh my God, you gotta hate men after finish reading that. Come on! The formula here is simple. If you want to get more people interested in reading a Wonder Woman comic book, forget about the movie. People are going to go watch the movie. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the hell the movie's about. People are going to go see the movie. People take their dates. Guys are going to take women to the Wonder Woman movie, even during a pandemic. Why? Because it's date night. Of course, it's a perfect date night movie. Okay? It's got nothing to do with the character. Wake up. Okay? Let's get real for a second. If you want to get people to actually pick up the Wonder Woman comic by even a fraction of a percent, start putting strong male characters that aren't bad guys in the comic book and that aren't jerks in the comic book. Try it just a little bit. Because otherwise, DC, you're embarrassing yourself. You really are. This is a Wonder Woman comic, and you will not find more disdain for the male species than in this comic if you actually stop and read it and think about it. Problem is, nobody's reading it. And why would anybody want to read it when this is the quality and the attitude toward the male species that is contained within it? Let's be blunt here. Now I'm going to read it. I'm an easygoing guy. And look at my reaction. I love Wonder Woman. Hey, look at the shirt I'm wearing. Hey, I love Wonder Woman. But I'm just calling it like it is, man. This is really sad and it's pathetic. Something's got to be done here, guys. Really, it does. But I realize that the likelihood of this ever being corrected is pretty slim because there's never going to be a writer that approaches Wonder Woman and write her with a genuine sense of equality. So you can expect for the next 5 years, at least, you're going to have women writers on here. There's going to be no men writing Wonder Woman for the foreseeable future at all. That's not going to happen. Okay? Because we're in the middle of perceived wrongs and everything else. And look, there's fantastic female writers out there. And Tamaki's a good she's a good writer. Okay? She's a good writer. But she's drank the Kool-Aid. And she actually believes the nonsense that she's writing here. And it's poisoning her mind. And you're not going to have a strong male character in here. You're not going to have a likable male character in here. You're not going to have someone that will be helpful here. Except unless it's a trope. Unless it's Steve Trevor. But that doesn't count. She's drank the Kool-Aid. And it really hurts this title. You want to actually do something fresh and new for Wonder Woman. And I can't believe I'm saying this in the 21st century. But actually have a strong male new character in Wonder Woman that's a good guy and not a jerk and gets shit done and doesn't take any crap from Wonder Woman and corrects her because she needs correcting because she's wrong an awful lot lately. And that's okay because the people who are the smartest are the ones that can admit that they're wrong more often than not. Look at Batman. Batman's wrong all the time. It doesn't hurt his character. What's wrong with showing some flaws in Wonder Woman other than making her clearly, frankly, anti-men? Huh? Just calling it like I sees them. All right? Anyways, that's my nonsense rant. Take it for what it is. In the meantime, guys, I'll catch you later. Hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter at Metropolis40. And until next time, Comic Boom out.